everybody, how you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from the Black Wealth Boot Camp, and I wanted to take a second to talk to you about the psychology of money, the psychology of wealth building, the psychology of business ownership, the psychology of investing. When I got my PhD, my expertise, my dissertation was written in an area called investor psychology, and so I've always been fascinated with the mind and also how the mind impacts the money and the way we spend money. That was one of the reasons why I wrote the book Financial Lovemaking, because I was just astonished by how money affects the way people think, how money affects our attitudes. It affects who we choose to be in relationships with. It affects how what we do with that money. And also, there's kind of a chicken egg kind of phenomenon, right? The mind affects the money, and the money affects the mind, right? So I've talked about money affecting how you think, but also how you think affects your money. And so one of the things that I have really become a fan of is the idea of really practicing becoming the person that you want to be, practicing thinking the way that you want to think. So, for example, if you think about it on the negative side, if somebody, I don't care how attractive a woman is or a person is, if they tell themselves over and over again that they're ugly, I'm ugly, I'm ugly, I'm just so ugly, I'm so ugly, they're gonna believe that they're ugly eventually. The subconscious mind is the most powerful thing that in existence inside the human body. That's why it's very dangerous when we watch media, we see television, we see these really interesting, very destructive, counterproductive images of black children being presented that pushes them toward criminal behavior, pushes them toward ignorance, pushes them toward self-destruction. Media is big on this. Media is really big on this, and so what I would tell you to do, or what I would say, in my humble opinion, is that you may want to really consider the idea of making sure that you practice being the person that you want to be. And the way you practice being the person that you want to be is that you want to inundate yourself with images and thoughts and affirmations that are consistent with the person that you want to be. So, for example, if you want to be rich or wealthy, then you just say, I'm going to be wealthy. I think like a boss. I would rather be an owner than an employee, etc. Just repeat those sorts of things to yourself and repeat them to other people. And what you'll find is that you'll find your actions just sort of kind of follow behind your words and your thinking, almost like the way a little brother will follow the big brother, right? So your actions will start to correspond and correlate with your thinking. The reason that we created this Black Wealth Calendar is to kind of help with that process. The Black Wealth Calendar, which we think is great as far as Christmas gifts, stuff like that. We've had a lot of people buy them in bulks of 10 and 20 because they want to give them to many of their relatives. The Black Wealth Calendar is basically designed to do exactly that. It's designed to put imagery in front of you that on a day-to-day basis, every day, in front of your kids, that is consistent with wealth building, positive black family structure, productive behavior, ownership, financial responsibility, financial intelligence, financial capability, ambition, motivation, and all the things that will make you successful and wealthy in this life. I think a lot about wealth building. I think a lot about ownership. And the single thing and I just figured this out yesterday. I'm not kidding you. I figured out that the single best thing that I had going for me as a young person that allowed me to have some degree of success today is that I have always been a long term investor, not just with money, but with life. I went to school. I finished college. A lot of my friends were rushing to go get a job after college. I said, no, I want to set a foundation. So I was in school for another 8 years after college. And, who does that, right? But I remember just thinking, like, oh, it's okay. I'm just going to keep putting in the time and get the degrees and get the education. And then one day in the future, it will pay off. The same thing is true with investing. In my business, I would invest and invest and invest, and people will say, "Well, did you get your money back in the last couple months?" I say, "I'm not worried about it. I'm just putting my money in now so that I can build something for the future." And then I look back and I look at the trail of my life, which sometimes felt like a trail of tears, and I see this trail of some pretty cool successes along the way. I'm not bragging or nothing, but I guess I did all right. And I realized that this all came from the fact that I was thinking long term when other people were thinking short term. I was thinking big when other people were thinking small. I was thinking about ownership when other people were thinking about borrowership or being an employee or and things like that. This is what we're trying to teach. This is what we push in the Black Business School, in the Black Wealth Boot Camp. This is why we're creating low cost, high quality alternatives to college education so you don't have to go to spend $100,000 getting an MBA. The Black Wealth Calendar, for example, costs $19.95. So anybody can afford 1995. And the cool thing about it is that every day you and your kids open the refrigerator, they'll see this calendar, they'll see an image of a positive black family, and they'll also see the wealth building principle of the month. And the wealth building principle of the month might be it might be saving and budgeting month in January. It might be credit repair month, which is March. It might be debt reduction month, which is February. We've got months for building black businesses. We've got months for planting the seed, which means getting your children involved in the family business. We have to plant the seeds with our kids. By the time your child is about 7 or 8, your child should have an understanding of some very basic financial principles. So I'm actually working right now on kind of a glossary of just 20 financial terms that your child needs to know in order to be financially literate. So this is the kind of stuff I'm working on. I'm really working hard to apply every inch of my doctorate into this to make sure that as we move to the next generation, we're not going to have financial ignorance in our community. We're not going to have people running around here who just don't understand how money works or whatever, because if they don't understand it, then another black person will be able to explain it to them. And all this really started when I found out that even one of the stereotypes that I'd bought into wasn't true. There are a lot of people who believe that black people don't want financial literacy. They don't want education on the internet. They just want entertainment and they want ratchetry. They'd rather go to World Star Hip Hop than to Black Enterprise. Now, World Star and places like that, they do pretty well, and I'm not knocking anything that they do. Lord knows, last thing I need is another beef. I'm not trying to get into all of that. I'm focused on you right now. But when we did our research, we found that there were millions of black people who wanted financial education. And I said, well, that's my thing. I've been teaching white kids for 20 years. I'm going to teach my people. So I dug in. I dug in my heels, and I've committed, several years to kind of developing things. And I'm still developing stuff. I'm still writing stuff every day, creating stuff. And all these are teaching tools to allow you to find a way to become as financially literate as you want to be, but not just understand money for the sake of money, but to understand money as the powerful tool that it is for your personal and collective liberation. And also understanding the importance of us owning things now so that those things can grow. If you don't plant the seed, then the tree will never grow. So we plant the seeds today, and guess what? In a generation or two, our children are balling. Our kids have billion-dollar companies, and they say, yeah, my daddy started this, or my great-granddaddy started this company back in the year 2015, and it wasn't nothing back then. They almost shut the doors, because they ran out of money, that month, and but they borrowed money from grandma, and they were able to keep the company going. And people will say, oh my God, you mean Johnson Industries was almost didn't exist? And they won't even imagine that, because they're going to see this massive corporation that's employing 10,000 people, and they won't even imagine a world where that company didn't exist. But that's true for every great empire in corporate America. Every great empire starts with a seed. It starts with a visionary. And my question for you really is, are you going to be that visionary for your family? I believe that you can do it. I know you can do it. So this calendar can help. I hope you'll go take a look. You can go to theblackwellthcalendar.com, theblackwellthcalendar.com, and don't just buy one for yourself. If you feel compelled, buy them for your relatives. This is something that we wanted to sell you guys for Christmas. We're taking orders for Christmas for the next couple of days. After that, we might not guarantee that they can get to you before Christmas, but these, I think that this would be literally the best gift that anybody gives in the household, because everybody else is giving away all kinds of stuff that doesn't last that long. When you plant that seed of knowledge, you literally are reshaping someone's entire trajectory of their entire life. So let's focus on that big picture. Let's make things happen. If you're interested in the calendar, I hope you go take a look. Theblackwellthcalendar.com. That's the URL. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from the Black Business School and the Black Wealth Boot Camp. Please take care. God bless. I'm gone. Peace.